who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phone. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Monday, and boy, is it a Monday. 4th day of May, 2020. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds. That will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. Now, on the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, not to worry, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live. There you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. Most days, you'll also find us streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But for some reason today, we're having difficulties logging in with our broadcast software. So here in a few minutes, when Michael comes in to do his recap, I'm going to relaunch the platform and see if I can get it up and going. But for now, we'll just move on. I got something I want to share with you. There's been a lot of arguing here of late, not here, but in the world, over reopening the economy, completely shutting down for another couple of weeks. But someone in their right mind took the time to write this. I don't know exactly who wrote it, but I'm going to share it with you. We are not in the same boat. I heard that we're all in the same boat, but it's not like that. We're in the same storm, but not in the same boat. Your ship could be shipwrecked and mine might not be, or vice versa. For some, quarantine is optimal, a moment of reflection or reconnection, easy in flip-flops with a cocktail or a coffee. And for others, it's a desperate time of financial and family crisis. For some that live alone, they're facing endless loneliness, while for others, it's peace, rest, and time with their mother, father, sons, and daughters. With the $600 weekly increase in unemployment, some are actually bringing in more money to their households than they were when they were working. Others are working more hours for less money due to pay cuts or loss in sales. Some families of four just received $3,400 from the stimulus, while other families of four saw nothing. Some were concerned about getting a certain candy for Easter, while others were concerned if there would be enough bread, milk, and eggs for the weekend. Some want to go back to work because they don't qualify for unemployment and are running out of money. Others want to kill those who break the quarantine. Some are home spending 2 to 3 hours a day helping their child with online schooling, while others are spending 2 to 3 hours a day to educate their children on top of a 10 to 12-hour workday. Some have experienced the near death of the virus, while some have already lost someone from it, and some are not sure if their loved ones are going to make it. And others don't even think this is a big deal. Some have faith in God and expect miracles during 2020. Others say the worst is yet to come. So friends, we're not all in the same boat. The same storm, but not the same boat. We're going through a time when our perceptions and needs are completely different. Each of us will emerge in our own way from this storm. It is very important to see beyond what is seen at first glance. Not just looking, but actually seeing. We're all on different ships during this storm, experiencing a very different journey. So realize that and be kind. Father, we thank you today for your many blessings in our life, for your mercy, for your grace. We thank you that we can take all of our troubles, whatever they are, whatever it is that we face, and we can bring it to you. We can put our faith, hope, and trust in you that you have this situation under control. Your word says that all things work together for the good of those that love you and are called according to your purpose. And that's who we are. We are those peculiar people, the people that you called. So again, God, we thank you for this day, and help each and every one of us find a way to be a blessing to someone else today, some way, somehow. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, let's take a look at the S&P 500 Emini Futures. Let's go to a daily chart. That would be this one. All right, as we all know, we had a bearish cross back on February 27th, which took us down to a swing low at 2174 on March 23rd. Price rallied up to the BBC, where it found good resistance. And when resistance can't be overcome, price will do a reversal and go look for support, which it found at blue and climbing. That's something else we anticipate. Price walked the back of blue and climbing back up to the BBC. That just stands for bull bear cross. When we're below that green line, we anticipate lower prices. When we're above it, we anticipate higher prices. So on this move back up on the back of blue and climbing, we did get above the BBC. We began to look for higher prices. We highlighted this as potentially the first area of resistance, and it was. Sent us basically back down to the BBC. Buyers then took the ball and took us upfield through this obstacle, through this area of resistance, to the next area of resistance that we had highlighted. When price got there and couldn't get through, it reversed in search of support, which it found at the BBC. That support then took us back up to resistance. Buyers were able to take us through that area of resistance. We've now established a new swing high at 29.59. Make that 29.65. That's the new resistance, 29.65. Now, when price can't get through resistance, it will reverse and go look for support, which it found at the BBC. We had a gap lower open last night. Friday, we closed the session at 28.17. Last night, we opened at 27.89. It's a pretty good gap lower open, but it gapped us right into the BBC. Early on, we had a red candle. Looked as though the BBC might not hold. As you can see, we now have a green candle as the session progresses. So on the way back up, where do we look for resistance? Well, blue and climbing has gone blue and flat right at this swing high area. So overhead, we're looking for potential resistance at 28.82. If this daily candle fails and we trade below the low of last night's open, then we look for support. Initially, we'll look for support right here. If price can get through that area, through that obstacle, then the major support will be right here where we had the bullish cross at 26.21. So that's what we see from a daily perspective. Of course, during today's show, Michael will do a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning. And then I will go over each and every one of the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. Also the Logic 247 alerts. Now in the live training room, it's kind of like boot camp, okay? Some people say, man, it's so fast. I'm having a hard time keeping up. Well, if you ever served in the military, if you ever went to boot camp, Once they shave your head, you pretty much hit the ground running, and they keep you running for 9 weeks. So the live trading room is not meant to be easy. There's really nothing easy about trading. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. The idea is during that fast-paced environment in the live training room, our goal is to simply teach you our primary trade setup, the setup that we use to trade all markets and all time frames. Once you fully understand the trade setup to the point that you can see it coming in your sleep, that's when you'll start taking a look at what we do with the alerts, both the logic and the concierge. And there we utilize a larger time frame, a 30-minute chart, and that really tends to kind of slow things down. But because you've already learned the core methodology in that fast-paced environment, well, you'll find that making that move to the 30-minute chart, it's almost like a leisurely walk in the park. So more about that later in today's show. For now, let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets, the indices as they're called, currently here in the US. The Dow is down 190 points. NASDAQ is up 42. S&P 500 is down 9. And the Russell 2000 also down 9. You'll notice I gave you no percentages today. First time in a long time. Today is the first flat market that we've seen in quite some time. The S&P 500, as we go to the smaller time frame, I'll show you, it's kind of tied in a knot. In other words, buyers and sellers are really battling it out right here. And whether it happens in today's day session or tonight on Globex or whenever it happens, we will be able to declare a winner, buyers or sellers, based on what the chart shows us. One of the most difficult things for a trader to do when a market is flat like this and sort of tied in a knot is to sit on their hands. Hey, I'm a trader, I should be trading. Well, until there is something to trade, then the correct position is no position. And again, let me say, that is one of the most difficult market conditions for a trader to face, especially a new trader. Because again, I'm a trader, I should be trading. Well, not until the chart says so. And we'll teach you how to know when the chart says so. All right. I just gave you the US markets. Let's take a look at the commodity basket. Crude oil is up 15 cents, trading $19.93 last. Gold is up $11.70, trading $17.1260 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a loss, 574 points, almost 3%. Shanghai gained 37, a little over 1%, 1.25%. And the Hang Seng dropped over 1,000 points, which is a drop of a little over 4%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE was down 9. The DAX was down 398. That's a drop of 3.5%. The CAC down 193 points. That's a drop of a little over 4%. That gives us a mixed day in Asia, a red day in the UK, and it's a mixed day here in the US of A so far. Let's go to Michael, get a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. I say it's certainly a Monday because Michael had a bumpy start. I had a bumpy start. I actually got the weekly trading zones out later than normal. I normally have them out by 6:15 a.m. Eastern. every Monday morning. We've been publishing the zone since December 14th, 2009. So my apologies to everyone who got your zones a little bit late today, but maybe it's even a good thing, because with the markets tied in such a knot, just wasn't a whole lot to do. Of course, on the smaller time frames, I'm sure Michael has some interesting things to show us. So let me just...
I'll show you, but I only took one trade this morning.
Oh, I see.
And so it was, it was difficult trading. All morning. It was...
Well, as I said, it was flat.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. See that? That's gold. Now, I was trying to get things going here in the very beginning, or we would have gotten the gold for the day right away. Right here. Now, this is all chop, and there would have been a long trade right there. But we would have gotten gold for the day on the first trade. I mean, we did get the gold for the day on the first trade, but we only took one trade because I couldn't get logged on to anything today.
I'm sure we'll have a more active session tomorrow, guys. And keep in mind, when the markets...
The rest of the week, really.
When the markets do go into a day of consolidation like this, some call it consolidation, some call it coiling, whatever term you give it. Think of it as a spring, or maybe you're winding the grandfather clock. It's tightening, 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 and then again, one of the other, the buyers or the sellers, will show that they're more committed to their agenda than the other team, and off we'll go. Either buyers will grab the ball and unmistakably take it upfield, or the sellers will grab it and hit downfield. So with that, Michael, I'll hit mute, and it's all yours.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 4th day of May, 2020. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, we made 8 ticks on the ES. Today it took 53 minutes to take our first trade, and at that point we're up $100 a contract, and we only took one trade today. So on the month now, we are up $300 per contract. I don't know why that formula is not right, but I'll fix that. That's over 2 trading days, averaging $150 per contract per 2-hour day. On the year, we're at 30,635. That's over 81 trading days, averaging $378 per contract per trading day. Okay. Now, if you have not taken a free trial, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. Right here in the right-hand column, it says apply.cfrn.net. You can click there. You can just scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial and click there. And that's going to bring you to eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. Once you get that confirmation link, you must click on it, okay? Because we don't know that you took the free trial until you click that link. All right. So gold, I was just showing you. There was one trade right here that I missed this morning because I couldn't connect. There was another one right here that I missed because I couldn't connect. There was one right here, one right here. And then it just got really choppy. And so I just stayed away from it. Now over here, there are a couple of trades in here once it started to move. This right here was my measured move right there. Okay, and then I said, if we get another shot at it, it should do it again. And pretty much to the tick, did it again. Then I made a copy of it, and it did it again. And then we didn't have any trade setups. So in here, where could you have traded? Right in here, you could have traded short there. You could have traded short not because it was a momentum trade. And then you didn't have anything. Now it turned around and started to go back up. This is all during the break. It was grinding back up, and now it's grinding to a halt. The euro, we didn't do anything with the euro this morning. Let me scroll back and see what we missed while I was trying to log on. There really wasn't anything here in the euro today. I don't know, Joe. Let me shut the brown line off on this one.
No, there is no YouTube yet. We're having issues with the broadcasting software.
Okay. There was one short from right in here, but it was going into the low of the day, so it probably wasn't actually even a short. So we didn't get anything there. Now, crude oil. Let's see. Come on, crude oil. There was a long there, and a short there. A short here that I missed. Now, there was a short here that would have been a break even. There was a momentum short that would have been a break even right there. And then we got into the break. And there really wasn't anything during the break. It's starting throwing up right now, but it's the cycle's flat in the middle, so I wouldn't do anything with that. And the ES, poor thing. Well, that's where we got our goal for the day. Now, and we got it way back here. We went short here, picked up 8 ticks, and that was our only trade that we took on the ES. There was another short right here that eventually worked its way down. One right here would have been a break even. One right there. This was a long. And there would have been another long right in here. And that was it. That was it for the morning session. I just trade what's in front of me as much as I can. So if you've not taken the free trial, go to the home page at CFRN.net. Right here it says free 5-day trial. Click on that. You'll be brought to this page, EminiTrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can fill this in if you want. It's for your benefit. Click on the send button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know you took the free trial. Okay, so today, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Hang on, I'm scrolling up to see if John's here yet. No, he's not. Okay, today's the 4th day of May 2020, and we only made 8 ticks on the ES. Okay. It just moves around too fast, Bobby. And the small time frame that I work in, it's just too fast on those markets. We used to do it, but we used to do it with a 230. It was a mix of a 233 tick, 10,000 volume, and 4 tick range. But it just got crazy. Okay, so today took 53 minutes and 1 trade to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 contract, and we only took the 1 trade. So on the month, we are now up $300. That's over two trading days, averaging $150 per day. On the year, we're at 30,635. That's over 81 trading days, averaging 378 per day. Now, when you look at, you gotta look over here to see the monthly totals. So you started out with 2,700, then we got up to 4,100. Then the virus really kicked in and we got up to 15,000. Then 8,300. So you can see where the virus started to have an effect on the markets and where the opportunities came. Now, this one right here, I only got about 10% of the trades. This one, there were a couple of days that I really tried to focus and get as many trades as I could. And then I got back into training mode here. And that's pretty much where we are right now. I mean, the markets just didn't move today. Well, they moved, but they didn't move in a manner that was good for trading. But that's it. Why did I sell the ES after 8 ticks? Was it a stop limit? I put a target on that one, Travis. When it was dropping, and I saw I could get my goal for the day, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just get my goal for the day. So I was short in here, and it started to pull back. It went up, hit the BBC, and then it tanked off the BBC. And when it got here, and I had 8 ticks in profit, I just threw a limit order right there, and it took me out. Now it kept going down after that, but I just wanted to get my goal for the day. You know, the thing, our mantra is establish a goal that you can achieve on a consistent basis. And, you know, let me minimize that and bring this back up. If you look at this, the green days are days that I met my goal for the day. Okay. And right in here, it says how many minutes it took and how many trades it took. And this is February. Yeah, right here. Valentine's Day was my last down day. Knock on wood. But if you look in here, see how many trades, how many times I have just one trade to get to the goal for the day. And last month was similar. How many times did it take one trade? And this month, same thing. Okay. You know, I hate that we're quarantined. You know, I mean, it's, for me, it's not that big of a deal, because I don't go out anyway. You know, I walk my dog and bring the kids places, but you know, they've been home with us constantly. But you know, that's the biggest change. You know, they're not going to school, and you know, everything else. You know, I can still go to the grocery store. I can still go to the pharmacy. So, but the markets have been crazy, and you know, it's been good for everyone. I mean, really, it's given everybody a lot more time to sit down in front of their monitor and look at what we do, and you know, and really make a plan about what they're going to do the next time this thing strikes, and we're quarantined again. You know, that's the benefit for all of us, really. You know, because we've been doing this for so many years. It's I don't know. You know, I want everybody to get to the point where they can see the trades coming before they get there, and they don't have to actually listen to me. You know, like right in here, I would say, okay, if we get to down close here on the euro, you're gonna have a short trade. Now I'm just eyeballing it, but I know that if I drew a trend line, this down close right here would be below the trend line, and this one, and this one would be right on the trend line. But Unprecedented times, I'm telling you. You know, we've had it like this for a day or two in the past, but not for a month and a half, 2 months. Okay. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I'm ready.
And John just popped in.
Okay. All right, guys. John just popped in. So we're going to go ahead and talk to him real quick. And then as soon as we're done, I will walk you through the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. We had quite a few. Or we had the same number of the concierge that we always have. And we had quite a few Logic 247 alerts. I'll explain to you what the difference is between the two. I'll talk to you about the time frame that we use for the alerts, all of that. But first, we'll talk to John. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
How was your weekend? How you feeling?
You know, it was kind of still a little bit of a rough weekend, and I'm not 100% today, but we'll battle on and see what we can do. I'm actually a little bit worried about these markets today because this higher opening, or sorry, the early morning rally seems to be dissipating, running out of gas, and if we go down this afternoon any lower than where we are right now, I don't think it bodes too well for the week.
Well, we were looking for support here at the BBC on the daily chart. We also, our sentiment for this session for the indices was sideways to lower. So those two opposing forces have created this knot that you can see here. The markets are literally just tied in a knot on my 30-minute chart. And until we break free of this congestion, break free and then hold on a pullback, and that can be in either direction, then we'll have some opportunity. John, you need to answer that?
Yeah, I will be right back to you.
All right, fair enough. All right, guys, I'm going to take this opportunity to give you a recap of, and I'm still working on the streaming issue with YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I was able to ping the broadcasting software. I was able to ping it and get a response, but we're still not connecting for some reason. But I won't bore you with all that technical stuff. So let me just give you the recap of what's happened with Logic 247 since the Globex opened last night. Yes, I said last night. We actually go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when the futures markets open. And that is one of the reasons that we like the futures market so well, is because it is open around the clock. From Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern, until Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern. So we're able to trade whenever opportunity presents itself. And right now is an example of opportunity not presenting itself. Okay, since the Globex opened last week, we are in week 92 of Logic 247. Total of 20 alerts, 2 never triggered. We had 16 actionable alerts. And so far, we don't have anything stopped out. 10 of the alerts reached the final target. 6 of them reached at least the first target, or if there was only one target, 60% of that first target. So last week, I forget what the percentage number was for the whole week, but it was low. We have averaged over the last 91 weeks, about 20% of the Logic 247 alerts being stopped out. Now, what does a Logic 247 alert look like? Let me show you. It looks like this. Okay. All right. Last week, week 91, we had a total of 87 alerts. 4 never triggered. We had 83 actionable alerts. 8 of those were stopped out, so 10%. So that was an unusually good week. We had more alerts than normal, and we had fewer stop out than normal. We averaged over the past 91 weeks, 20% being stopped out. So here we go, 6 p.m. Eastern. The first few alerts were gap fills because we had a gap lower open. So the S&P filled the gap. Dow partially filled the gap. We missed filling the entire gap by 5 points. So the Dow, the Russell gap fill, got it. NQ gap fill, made it to the first target. We didn't make it to the final target. Crude gap fill, and then we had a long on gold. We had a short on the S&P. We had a short on the Dow, a short on the Russell, on the NQ. We had a short, and on crude we had another short. This crude never triggered. This is a Russell short, and this is an S&P short. Okay, so that's just sort of a breeze through it. What I'll do after we finish talking with John is I'll bring up the Concierge Trade Alerts. I'll let you take a screenshot of those. The difference in the two alerts, the Concierge Alerts are based on historical price behavior. The Logic 247 is based on current price action. And when those two point at the same important price, important area, it's time to slow down, go look at the chart, because opportunity is presenting itself. Okay, John, back to you.
Yeah. So no, actually, I agree. If it turns up from here, we're going to be okay. In fact, it could turn quite bullish from this point forward. But there's kind of a lot of stuff. There's some good things going on, like they're talking about more stimulus, possibly a serious amount. I mean, honestly, I really believe before this is over, there's at least another 3 trillion coming, and if they throw in the infrastructure, it could be about 5 trillion altogether between now and the election. It's just I think they're going to have to do it because the numbers are staggering. Putting 30 million people back to work is really going to be a pretty tall order. I think they're a good many of those people may be able to get back to work, but there might be a lot of disruption, and there might be a lot of companies that just take them on. So
right,
it's you could end up with a few million, maybe even as many as 5 million people who end up getting kind of left.
That's kind of why we've been banging the drum on. There's one industry that has not been as nearly negatively impacted as other industries, and that is the trading industry. Anyone who was a trader when this pandemic hit, they were employed, and they continued to be employed because traders nowadays, now that no one's really standing in the pits, everything's done electronically. Many traders don't even work for someone else. They simply work for themselves and trade their own account. And most folks have dreamed of becoming a trader at some point in their life, especially if you're someone that listens to this radio program. However, because of your job and your family and all your other obligations, you never really had the time to give it a fair shot. So we've been encouraging everyone. Right now, most folks seem to have time on their hands. Put that time to good use. Take our free trial and see if trading might be for you. Won't cost you anything. There's no credit card required. And once and for all, you can answer the question, could I become a trader? At the end of after spending a week with us and having full access to our full suite of tools, alerts, everything else, you'll be in a position to make a well-informed, intelligent decision if there is a possible future in trading for you. And once you have the skills of a trader, the only thing you need to go to work every day is a relatively modern computer and a fast, robust internet connection. And you can work anywhere, anytime. So back to you, John.
Yeah, it could be a life-changing kind of a thing that this whole
Trading is not for everybody. Let's be upfront with that. Not everyone has the physiological makeup, the psychological makeup to be a trader. It requires, now, I don't think there's anything that can't be learned, but again, it's not the solution for everyone, but more and more people are finding out that it can be a viable solution. So, okay, what would you like to look at? Any particular markets you want me to bring up?
I think the gold, is up a little bit today, and the silver as well, but there's a bit of an overhang situation, a bit of an overhang problem, and I wouldn't rule out a little bit, somewhat of a further retest of either 17 or possibly even 1650 or 1675. I think if we go down there and come back up, it would be very, it could be constructive. And actually the gold stocks sort of opened higher this morning and are selling off. So that's a bit of a hint. They're not, it may be just a pullback. It looks like a three-wave pullback at the moment. If they start going back up again, I would consider that to be a positive. But here we are.
Gold did run up to our weekly zone.
We're almost negative on the NASDAQ now. Actually, I really think this market just is actually less likely to rally now the way we're going.
That holds true to our sentiment for the day, sideways to lower. Gold did rally up to last week's zone at 1725/26. Got rejected, sent back down to our zone at 1705/06, and it's just kind of rolling sideways for the moment.
Yeah, Buffett was on this morning. He bailed on the airlines.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he may have made a mistake. Listen. Remember, he was on the day of the gap, the day of the down gap. I believe it was February 24th. Yeah, February 24th was the day of the down gap, and he was on saying, buy the dip and all this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. He really didn't, get the memo at the time where everything started breaking down, and he was kind of left holding the bag on the airlines, which is pretty unusual for him. But remember, he's a buy and a hold guy. Mm-hmm. But he's just figured that, the entire industry, the entire airline industry could change. Listen, if this thing does disappear within a month or two and sort of run itself out, life could get back to almost 100% normal. But I think there's a lot of people who just think that this is such a kind of a wrenching thing that's happened that a lot of people might change their behavior. In the sense, there may be a lot of people who just put off vacations, put off traveling, put off a lot of things, and there's more. It's kind of like as our parents or grandparents after the Depression, they certainly didn't go out splashing out, on things for decades. They were very saver-minded, saver-orientated for a long time.
Oh, if you've got a great grandmother that's still alive, or possibly even a grandmother who lived through that time, man, that has stuck with them. Some people might go,
this is not a year-long You know, this is not a year-long kind of a thing yet by any means, but you know, that's why if it is over relatively quickly, it could fade from memories pretty quickly. I mean, you know, remember after 9/11, they were making all sorts of predictions.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't really come true. That, you know, it wasn't long before things were back to normal.
Oh my goodness, the churches, some churches had to go to 2 and 3 services because they were so packed, man. You couldn't just fit all the people in the church. And that lasted for a while. And then, you know, life got back to normal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, I wish Trump would come out and say something a little bit like Kennedy, you know, kind of ask what your country can do for you, you know, ask what you can do for your country. What a great line. But the way I would do it is he should come out and say, you know, everybody puts 10%, you know, work an extra hour a day for the country, you know, or for yourself, you know, for yourself and your country, you know, work that bit harder, do an extra 10%, you know, just a thing like that could really have a profoundly positive impact on the country. And just a sec.
You need to get it. Go ahead. Okay, guys, on the S. Okay, well, I just showed you the goals. Concierge Trade Alert. If you didn't get a chance,
I'm here.
You here? Okay.
So what bothers me a little bit about this, you know, it's. I mean, look, Russia. It's kind of like, you know, maybe Putin thought he had this thing under control in the early days, and it's just gone crazy in Russia. It's got about 140,000 infections very, very rapidly. And the death toll is definitely going up a lot. You know, the other thing is, while some polls are putting Trump at an all-time high in his popularity, the Gallup poll, the other poll, the Rasmussen, which is one that I personally pay a lot of attention to, is less positive. And then there's these polls creeping up where it shows Biden ahead. And, you know, if this thing keeps going right into the election, could have dire consequences, because people will, if they're desperate, you know, they might vote for change. And, you know, and to be honest with you, the 2024 U.S. debt clock is predicting a very, very dire situation. I mean, just something that's almost unfathomable. I don't know where they're getting all that from. I mean, we know the deficit's going to be about 41 trillion, maybe even 42 trillion. By then, maybe even 45 if they had more debt still. They're really, the revenues, they're talking about an 18, you know, the GDP going from 21.5 trillion down to 18 trillion by then. That's a really, really big deal. So, you know, I hope that's not the case, but it certainly is a pretty scary future. And look, unfortunately, you know, the thing that we said this before this pandemic was even started, that we were concerned about the first few years of this decade having a correction, and you know, it's, if you go back and look at what happened in 1920, you know, the fact of the matter is the Spanish flu hit in 18. There was a huge hit in 18. The market did come back, kind of like we're doing right now. And it did go to a new high. It went to a nominal new high in 1920. In 1920, it was about 120, and by the end of the year, it was 65. So it got cut down almost the same amount as the 2007 to 2009 correction. So, and we've been talking about that for a year or longer. You know, about this the curse of 21, I called it, and it came in 20. In fact, I misread it because, you know, the data isn't very good going back 100 years, and what looked like 21 was actually 20. So, I mean, think about it. You know, the market topped out in January, topped out this year in February like it was about February the 18th or 19th, something like that, middle of February. And so we're literally barely 6 weeks behind that other time, but this is more, well, you could make the argument we had a correction in 18 and we came back and made a nominal new high. So you could argue by some measures we might be the same as the 1920s, but more realistically, it looks like we're in for another hit in 22 or 23 or 24. And then after that, I think we're going to have the roaring 20s, you know, going into the end of the decade. Could come sooner, that would be great, but I mean, the writing's on the wall for either an inflationary blow-off, a dollar decline, an inflationary blow-off to come in 23, 24. It's almost unavoidable. And we may have another hit from something else we don't even know about yet, or another one of these viruses. Who knows? It's certainly. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a double hit, from this thing. I.e.,
do you think the warmer climates like Arizona are going to? You think that's going to make a difference?
You mean people moving there?
No. I mean, they say that where there's warmer climates, that it's more apt that the virus will kind of die out, or the heat.
Yeah, no. I think that's highly likely. In fact, it's going to be interesting to see. Mexico's still relatively unaffected by this thing. It's about 18,000, something like that, in cases, and maybe a few hundred deaths. But look at Thailand. If you look at Thailand, Malaysia, Taiwan has done an incredible job. Obviously being an island, I think that's an advantage.
And what a huge difference between Iran and Iraq.
Yeah.
I mean, huge difference.
Yeah, it's
hard to explain.
Yeah, and Australia. I mean, Australia is a big island in of itself, and it's done an incredible. And remember, it's still pretty hot down in Australia in most places.
And Tokyo has the densest population of any city on the planet, and yet they've fared this pretty well. Yeah.
Taiwan is really extraordinary. That Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia have done really, really well. Russia, the colder climate in Russia may be ideal for this virus. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
The European countries have been hit very, very hard. But it's going to be interesting. Brazil is getting hit pretty hard at the moment. They're it's reasonably hot down there, and that's not. So it's going to be interesting to see if Mexico can keep their cases down into maybe the 30,000 or less. The heat factor may really be something important. Something that really has an impact, and it's going to start getting pretty hot in the States pretty soon. And I mean, in northern states more than the southern states.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are doing pretty well in Arizona, no?
Yeah. Here's my little phone app running. I've got the current figures on a little lap, but go ahead and keep talking. And once the app,
so
sure.
Yeah, we're actually starting another rally here. So if we do rally this afternoon, I'd have to say it's a positive, it's a constructive thing. And look. The troubling thing about this is that there are countries in the world that are making new highs. Look, it's really, really hot in Dubai and UAE, and they're suffering really badly right now from this.
And they have first-class medical.
Yeah. And Saudi Arabia as well is just crazy, the infection rate over there. So it's kind of not that clear as as far as keeping the lid on this thing. whether the heat, has that big of an impact. So I think, by the way, there was this guy called Gallo, Dr. Gallo. He's quite famous. He was on this Greta show over the weekend, and he didn't have too much to say about remdesivir. He basically thinks it's pretty useless. So, which is kind of what we said a long time ago. We didn't think it was that crash out of a deal. He wasn't too hot on the hydroxy either, but I think the hydroxy's a better treatment than the remdesivir. I mean, look, together the two of them are probably better than nothing. But I think the hydroxy's definitely got a track record of saving people's lives, and so has remdesivir to a point. But it's very, he just wasn't that impressed with the modality of it, so I still don't understand why they're not paying more attention to this Avigan, the Japanese flu, the China supposedly the frontline defense. It seems incomprehensible to me that they're not, listen, China threw everything in the kitchen sink at this thing. They tried everything, all kinds of combinations, and if they've come up with Avigan,
they just haven't lied about it all.
Well, it's true, but in spite of that, if they're saying that their treatment is Avigan, and listen, you have to look at China today. There's no new infections. Something they've done in the last few months is working.
I think was yesterday the first day that they had no new reported cases.
Yeah. So whether they're giving out this Avigan to everybody or who knows, but I believe that it's being kind of ignored. Look, this Zofluza is another thing. We mentioned this on this show months ago. I haven't heard anybody trying that out. I certainly would. If you get, the Zofluza thing is a one treatment. If you get the flu symptoms, you take it right away. So who knows if that doesn't help? Tamiflu definitely works. There's no question about that. And that's not even being talked about either. So,
I just had the Arizona numbers pop up. In the state of Arizona, officially confirmed 7,648, recovered 6, deaths 320.
Yeah. By the way, a friend of ours came up from the south, and they have checkpoints on the roads now down in Mexico, testing people's temperature and stuff. So they're taking it pretty seriously. Nobody's doing that in the States. So
one of our guys in the audience here says, my son was treated with hydroxy and Z-Pak. He snapped back in 48 hours and is completely recovered. Amen.
I mean, I don't understand why they keep knocking this thing. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And,
do you think it's politically motivated?
Oh, absolutely. It's a disgrace. Did you see Trump's town hall last night?
No, I didn't.
It was excellent.
I'll catch a recording of it. What were the highlights?
Well, I think it was a very heartfelt, interview that he did. He pretty much answered all kinds of very difficult questions, and usually was a great aplomb as always. And I think I earned him a lot of points. But it was wide ranging, and I think he did an excellent job. And it was right there in front of the Lincoln Memorial, which some of the Democrats were complaining about,
Oh my goodness! No, what? Why were they complaining about that?
They probably got a guilty conscience, over the slavery issue and all the rest of it. Who knows?
Oh boy.
But
that's too bad.
Yeah, it's so. We'll just have to see, the next 6 months. In all honesty, it feels to me like we're a month, maybe a bit longer, maybe a month away from me really getting control of this thing.
What, was I having a bad dream last night, or did I hear somebody somewhere mention a potential ticket that had Hillary for president and Barack as vice president?
Somebody said that, yeah.
I mean, is that based upon our laws? Could Obama be vice president?
Probably feasible. I mean, listen, they'll do whatever it takes to try and come up with some kind of a way to beat Trump. So,
do you think that ticket could be Trump?
I hope not.
Well, yeah, I hope not too. I'll tell you what, though, I gotta admit, it's the strongest opposing ticket I've heard talked about.
Yeah. So, look, we'll just have to put our heads down and
pray,
and hopefully get
pray
through
for our
this.
country.
Yeah. So the oil is a bit higher today. The oil is actually holding up quite well. Maybe the fact that they're pumping, into the strategic petroleum reserves, they're doing that right now. Maybe that's helping. And the Chinese may be doing the same. So it may be taking some of the inventory off, right out of the production, if you like. And if they get the planes going in the next few weeks, that will probably help with the usage and more traffic on the road as well, probably. So we'll have to see. So that's now we're slumping again. So it's not such an easy day to have.
Yeah, I mean the NQ's coming off from an area. We actually had an alert to consider being long 87.80, but the swing high.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to an important price, important area, and then just ran out of gas.
Yeah, to go up and go back negative is not a very good sign.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was starting out with today, especially if we start off into the afternoon. It doesn't bode too well for Tuesday, although, Tuesday is often a surprise day, so.
Turnaround Tuesdays.
Yeah, and also, look, the airlines, they might be down 10% today, but tomorrow, they're going to be 10% cheaper for a lot of people. And there's a lot of people who want to buy the airlines. I mean, there's actually quite a lot of, look, I don't think the airlines are going back to all-time highs for a long time, but they could bounce a lot. They could double or triple from here easily, those airlines. So.
Anything else you want to look at?
No, listen, I think that's pretty much it for the day. Thanks.
All right, John. I'm glad you're feeling better. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. There was something. Oh, yeah. There's a tweet out over the weekend. A Democrat, an ex-CIA Democrat, he's looking for the death penalty for all these guys, for the coup, for the culprits, I mean, there's a Democrat saying that for all these people who plotted against Trump, basically saying, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, they have the audacity to basically, try and overturn your vote, whoever you voted for. And he's got a point.
Undermining the President of the United States, whether you agree with him or not. I consider that high treason.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we said it a long time ago. It all came down from the top, was run out of the White House. I mean, it's all coming out. And we said it, 3-4 years ago. It's going to be the biggest story. When all of this comes out, it's going to be monumental.
I mean, we disagreed with everything Obama did, but we never lied about him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for an ex-president to pull off a stunt like this is it's totally un-American. No other president's ever done that. It's really disgraceful, and it's unbelievable that they had the audacity to do this. I mean, it's absolutely criminal. It's terrible. And I mean, look, the law enforcement. The whole law enforcement's been tainted because of this. I mean, how can you have confidence in the law enforcement when all this stuff's going on? It's crazy.
It is. It is. They've just completely undermined our whole system that you know, people have given their lives, brave men and women, bloodshed, all of that, you know, to build the country that we have. And because deep state, people in power, whoever they are, want to undermine our president, and in doing so have undermined our entire country. Everything that our forefathers, you know, fought for, believed in, they've just trashed it. It's a dumpster fire. I hope they're happy, because they've really made a mess.
It's terrible, and I think there's going to be some pretty surprising developments as a result of it.
I invited Michael Lindell to join us one day later this week, so I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks very much.
He's got a book out, so it should be real interesting to talk with him.
Yeah. Be nice to get everybody on the show one of those free bed, you know, a few free pillows.
You know, you never know. It could happen. That would be. I have one of the pillows. Yeah. My wife and I both.
The mattress cover thing. That's a pretty good product.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. Right. Thanks.
Thanks, John. All right, guys. Now I gave you a chance to grab a screenshot of the Concierge Trade Alerts if you'd like. And if you'd like, here's another shot at grabbing a screenshot. These are the Concierge. These are based on historical price action. The Logic 247, which I scrolled through earlier, those are based on current price action. So you might, on the Logic, you might see an alert at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. That's predicated on current price action. So as opportunity presents itself in any given market around the clock, that's when we post the Logic alerts. These come out at the beginning of each Globex session, shortly after the Globex Open. I try to get them out no later than 9 p.m. Eastern. These are the ones that are based on historical price behavior. So if you can picture this, you've got historical price behavior and current price action, two separate things, two very different things, both pointing their finger at the same important price, important area. Slow down, get out your chart, load your indicators, and you'll probably find a pretty fair opportunity right there. All right, these are the markets we cover every night on the Concierge: the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, NQ. I haven't been doing bonds of late. We don't seem to have a lot of bond traders. Gold and soybeans. So a little something for everybody. Now, here's what's interesting about our methodology, among other things. We trade every one of these markets using the same methodology, same simple indicators, same strategy, same everything. If you hand any one of our traders a chart, and if you hid price and you hid the symbol up here, so that in essence all they were seeing was this part of the chart, they would be able to trade that, because that's how our methodology works. Same, it's fluid across all markets, all time frames. Yes, even all time frames. Michael uses it in the morning. He uses that fast range chart. But then I use 30 minutes to put out the alerts. And on an alert, where the trade is setting up, we might drill down to a 5-minute chart, again using the exact same methodology, same strategy, same indicators, to time our entry to coincide with that larger time frame move. So last night's results in the S&P, we had an alert, Concierge alert, To be short, 27.82. The market dropped $550 per contract traded. If you have earned the right to trade 10 contracts, well, you can do the math there. It's very important that you earn the right. And what I mean by that is not that you earned the money in some other business and now you want to use that money to trade. You don't need all that money you earn somewhere else. You just need a little seed money, okay? Fund your account. Once you become a member, the first goal is to put together 10 consecutive days in a row in the simulator with live real-time data. Put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you actually reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Then our blueprint gives you the green light to go live with just one contract. Using that one contract, we want you to increase your account balance by $2,000. This way, when you add your second contract, you're not going back to your savings like you did on the first contract. The second contract is underwritten, it's funded with profit you earned in the market. The blueprint will let you know when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, etc. And each time you add an additional contract, you'll always be adding it with profit you earned in the market. Now, you can see that if you follow that methodology, it makes it pretty difficult to blow up another account. Of course, you have to exercise the discipline to not add more contracts when things are not going well. In fact, our definition of not going well is any time you have 2 consecutive days in a row where you don't reach your goal in 10 trades or less. It's time to come out of the live market, step back into the simulator, which is not a walk of shame. It's a smart business decision. You book a mentoring session with myself or Michael. Those are included as a member. Once you become a member, it's a lifetime membership, and you have unlimited access to Michael and I both for one-on-one mentoring. So you step back into Sim, you book the mentoring session, we go through the trades you took, and we troubleshoot, we diagram, dissect the trades, much like your English teacher taught you how to diagram sentences back in school. We will do the same thing with the trades that you took. What we're looking for is why the trade was not profitable. Sometimes it'll be because you missed something, you didn't quite understand something, but there'll also be times when it wasn't even your fault, because the market can change course in midstream for no apparent reason. Doesn't happen a lot, but it can. So the goal of you coming back into Sim and going through the process of troubleshooting those trades that made up your rough patch. If something's out of whack, we want to fix it. If it was just poor market conditions, we want to identify that, because getting stopped out and not understanding why you got stopped out, that's painful. And it puts a really dark cloud over your head. Now, getting stopped out and understanding why you got stopped out, well, it's still an unprofitable trade, but it's now a learning experience. Okay? You put on a trade, it didn't work out, you understand why, and so you just paid for a very valuable lesson. You see, there's traders out there stacking up unprofitable trade on top of unprofitable trade, loss upon loss upon loss. They have no idea why, and they just keep digging the hole deeper. If you continue to go down the same road, you will continue to end up in the same place. If you use the same recipe, you'll continue to bake the same cake. And as it says here, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that created them. That's a true story. If you're new, if you're on the trial, whatever situations and circumstances led you to being here, whatever brought you here will not take you there. Where you are right now is not where you want to be, obviously. There is where you want to go. So whatever it was that brought you here will not take you there. So when we get together for our first mentoring session, I want to know what's happened in your life in regards to trading. You know, what methods have you tried? What have you done? All of that. I don't want to get too personal. I just, want to get some idea of where you are so we can then talk about a plan to get you where you want to be. A lot of the methodologies out there are so complicated, convoluted, and expensive. It's no wonder that some people aren't able to learn them. Also, it can be difficult trying to learn from just a book or just a video. The learning process is greatly enhanced when you have an actual live teacher who takes a personal interest in you and in your goals, and then walks with you step by step through the entire process, from the live training room all the way up through the alerts and everything in between. When you become a member, you have access to the members only discussion group. You can post questions in there round the clock. We have traders all over the world, so those of us in the US here are sleeping. There's often a chance there'll be somebody across the pond that might be able to just answer the question for you. If not, come sunrise here in the US of A, when all of the traders here arise and go to work, you'll get an answer pretty quick. Of course, you can call us anytime, 949-42-EMINI. You can email us support@cfrn.net. Help is always a phone call, an email, or a telegram post away. So again, on the S&P, the alert was to sell 2782. We dropped below the trigger here on the very first candle that triggered. We dropped from 82 down to 76. So that's a 6-point move. At $50 a point, that's $300 per contract traded. We got back above the trigger, and then we dropped again. This time, we dropped from 82 down to 73. So that's 9 points at $50 a point. It's $450 per contract traded. Price gets back above the trigger, and this time it drops to 27.71. So 82 minus 71 is 11 at $50 a point. That's $550 per contract traded. So we had 1, 2, 3 triggers off the same alert. Is that unusual? No. Important prices, important areas, at least our important prices and our important areas are almost always tested. Now, we arrive at our numbers perhaps in a somewhat different manner than other folks might. But if you go back through previous recaps, Today, even though we had an issue with our broadcast software and we're not streaming live right now on YouTube as we normally do every day, this broadcast is being recorded, and it takes an hour or so for the video to render once we end the show. So today's video, a video of today's show, will be uploaded a couple hours after we finish. But if you go to youtube.com/CFRN, you can scroll back a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years, and you don't have to watch the whole show, but you can scroll, you can fast forward up to the part where Michael's doing his recap, or where I'm doing the recap that I'm doing right now, where I walk you through every one of the alerts that have been issued since the previous show. So that's all recorded and archived for your benefit. If you do that, if you go back a week, a month, a year, when you fast forward to this point, you'll hear me saying the same thing, pointing out the same stuff. It's kind of boring, really. But you know what? If you're looking for excitement, find some other way to get your adrenaline rush other than trading. Because if you're an adrenaline junkie and you bring that attitude to the markets, you'll get cleaned out pretty quick, okay? You got to learn to tame your emotions, get the adrenaline fix somewhere else. You want trading to be boring, okay? You want to just look for that same plain vanilla movement, that same plain vanilla setup, that same plain vanilla execution. Take your profit and go. All right, that was the S&P. On the Dow, we said to consider being short 22,324. Looks like it's got one too many numbers in it. 23,234. That's the right number. 23,234. Okay. So as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's been a very flat market since the open last night compared to what we've seen here these last few months. So the initial trigger only offered 17 points. The next trigger only offered 26 points. Now at $5 a point, 30 points would be $150 per contract traded. But again, compared to what we've seen of late, that's not a whole lot. If we look back to Friday, we had a trigger at 23,850. That dropped 155 points times $5 a point. And then we got back above the trigger, and then we dropped 262 points, which works out to about $1,300 per contract traded. So again, today a day across the indices of some quiet consolidation, coiling, some will call it. Whatever the case, when we take out these highs and then hold on a pullback, or take out these lows and hold on a pullback, that's when we'll be back into what we like to call a trend. And those are the trading opportunities that we like the most. I do highlight counter trend trades often in the concierge, or not in the concierge, but in the discussion group. I don't put them in the alert channel because those who are coming here for the purpose of learning how to trade, we want to present you with what we feel are the highest probability, lowest risk opportunities. And while counter trend trades are certainly valid trades, some people specialize in counter trend. That's how they roll. So I'm not opposed to pointing them out in the discussion group, but as far as being an official alert, that's always going to be one that addresses the current trend as defined on my go-to chart, which is the 30-minute. Never triggered on the long side with the Dow. On the Russell, Consider being short 1232. We had a $600 per contract drop. And then we triggered again and made it down to 1229.20. So at 29, that would have been 3 points. The Russell pays $50 a point. Then we got back above the trigger. This time we dropped to 1226. So from 32 to 26, that's 6 points at $50 a point. That would be $300 per contract traded. Next, we have the NQ. Long 87.80. Man, that thing just went, it went 2 3/4 points and reversed stop out. And down here, selling 85.90. That turned into a $650, or I'm sorry, $560 per contract move. It got back above the trigger and then did the exact same thing again. Yeah, I think it dropped a few more points below the previous drop. So 2 triggers there. And that. Okay. So we covered the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ. Here's crude. On crude, the alert was to consider being short 21.40. This initial drop took us down to $560 per contract. Actually, this first little drop dropped to 21.21. That's $190 per contract traded. And then this one dropped to 21.26. That's $130 per contract traded. And then we got back above the trigger and dropped again. That led to the 560. Got back above the trigger. We dropped this time to basically 21. So it's about a $350 per contract move. Back above the trigger, down to basically $21. So that's a $400 per contract move. And on the long side for crude, 2260 was the long trigger. And again, if you didn't get a chance to grab a screenshot of the alerts, I'm going to drag them up one more time. So get ready. So there's 2260. Swing high, 2284. It's a 24-cent move, $240 per contract traded. All right, so if you remember, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So while we still have trading time left in today's session, there's certainly a possibility that any of these alerts could trigger again. Always trade with a hard stop. If you don't have a hard stop, you don't have a trade. You have a gamble, okay? You've had enough gambling. It's now time to get yourself a definable edge and learn how to trade. On the alerts, we don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, less when we can. If the initial trigger requires too much risk, then we're just patient and we wait for it to trigger again. Often the second and third trigger will offer an opportunity that requires less risk and might even offer greater profit potential. So always trade with a hard stop. Don't risk more than $300 per contract per trade. And always trade in SIM until you are consistently profitable. Now, I just got to tell you, that applies to any methodology, any strategy, any indicators, anything out there that you're going to embrace and make a part of your trading plan. You've got to vet it in sim. Somebody's going to tell you, oh yeah, that trading in the simulator, that's worthless. It don't count because it's not real. Well, you know, it's real lifetime, it's live real-time data. So the only thing that isn't real is the pain that you feel when you get stopped out. And you will get stopped out because there's no methodology, there is no strategy that allows you to trade without being stopped out. I addressed this last night in a tweeter somewhere. You know, there's websites out there where you read things like 99% accuracy, and I think I apologize to all the people who are new to this industry for our quote unquote competitors who make such claims, because it gives the whole industry a black eye when they do that. We're not going to always be right, but we're also not going to insult your intelligence. And if you're brand new to the industry, if you go to a website and it says, hey, we're 99% accurate, well, with nothing to compare it to, you know, so many new innocent people just believe it. Now, it's on the internet, it must be true. It's those kinds of shenanigans that play a big role in why 9 out of 10 new traders fail. There's the unrealistic expectation part, and then there's this part. No teacher. Well, why do I need a teacher? I mean, the man sent me the indicators. He sent me the instructions in a PDF. What do I need? You need a teacher. Would you, if somebody gave you a brand new Cessna and a manual on how to fly that Cessna, and maybe even a few YouTube videos, so you read the manual, you watch the YouTube videos, how likely are you to climb into that cockpit? Now, I realize if you're stranded on a desert island, you know, and you don't want to spend the rest of your life there, you might take a shot. But under normal conditions, what's the chances that after reading the manual, watching the YouTube videos, that you'd actually get in that cockpit and try to fly somewhere? Well, I guess if you're a real stone cold adrenaline junkie, maybe you would take a shot at it. But we know that's not smart, right? What about I don't know, I always use plumbing as an example. You know, well, here's another example. My air conditioner is not performing like it should, and summer is upon us here in Phoenix, Arizona. Alexa, what's the high going to be today?
Today, expect a high of 98 degrees Fahrenheit.
98. Anytime we're under 100 in Phoenix, that's kind of a nice day. Thank you. So, am I going to get out there and take my air conditioner apart and try to fix it? No. Now, I did fix my washing machine using a YouTube video, but that was a situation where nobody's going to get hurt. And if I did mess it up, I knew I could call a guy to come and, I mean, there's not that many moving parts to a washing machine. There's more than I thought as I got in there, but by the grace of God, in a YouTube video, and whoever the gentleman was that made that little video, I was able to troubleshoot it, find the part I needed, ordered it from Amazon. It came the next day. Took me about 2 days to get it put in, but voila, we had clean clothes. So the point I'm trying to make is you can try learning how to trade without a teacher, books and videos and stuff, but it really takes a back seat to having an actual teacher, instructor instructor, someone who is willing to share with you their knowledge, teach you what they know about the markets in exchange for money. Yeah, I mean, we're not a charity. We're in the business of trading, and this is one of the revenue streams that we've created. The good book says that a wise man, in Proverbs, it says that I believe it's Proverbs, a wise man has multiple income streams. In fact, the Bible says a wise man has 7 income streams, should have, or it's a good idea to have. So whatever your field of endeavor is, wherever you have the most knowledge, the more income streams that you can build around that thing that you know something about, I think that's better than developing an income stream in some field that you have no knowledge of, right? Does that make sense? So yes, it's a business. Yes, we charge money. However, I do feel that we provide more than our competitors. If there's anybody out there that you would really compare as a competitor, we provide more and literally charge a fraction of what some of them charge. Now, it's their business and they're, well, God bless America, they can charge anything that they want, but some of the prices are 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand. The infomercial that used to play here in Phoenix at 11:30 p.m. Eastern every night, $27,000. And you know what? If you finished that training and were able to then go to your charts and have a consistent income stream based off of what you learned for the 27 grand, then who am I to say that that's not worth it? I mean, if you spent 27,000 and you learned how to consistently make 50 grand a year, that's just based on the math. I guess that's a pretty fair deal. So anyway, not only have Michael and I worked for the last 15 years to make teaching our methodology as simple as we can. Trading is not easy, but it can be simple. We work very hard to make it not only simple, but we've kept it affordable. It's under 5 grand. I'm not ashamed to tell you that. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to make you read this really long sales page, or the funnel, I think they call it now. I'm not going to make you go through a sales funnel. I'm not going to wait until, your trial's over to tell you so that I've got you might as well just know up front. Because if you don't think learning how to become a trader is worth that, I mean, play the tape all the way through, all the way to the end. If owning your own business, being able to work when you want and where you want, based on a strong, robust internet connection, if you don't think it's worth what we charge, then there's no reason to even waste your time, the whole week. Go find one of the other guys that has something more complicated and more expensive. I guess, I don't know what the other solution would be. I just know that we're happy to help you. If you've never taken our trial, go to eminitrainingschool.com. Get 2 trials per lifetime, 1 every 6 months. So if you haven't taken the trial, eminitrainingschool.com. Name, email address, phone number. Yeah, we do ask for the phone number. Let me tell you why. Not so that we can call and pester you. We never sell your information. That's ludicrous. I don't know why people do that. I mean, when somebody gets asked to be on our mailing list, we're very happy. And we guard your privacy. And we would never, for a few shillings, sell your information. So, purpose of asking you for your phone number is to just, I'll be honest, it's a sales thing. We just want to know if you're serious or not. if you're not, if you don't trust us enough to give us your real phone number, this probably isn't for you. Because what we're looking for are people who not only want to start their own business and become a trader, we're looking for people who want to join our family, who want to become a part of the team that we've built and are building. We have traders around the world, and we invite you to become part of the family. Let's go to our good word for the day. If you have any final questions, well, you know what? There's something happening with my internet connection. I can go to certain things, I can do certain things, but then when I launch a browser, certain things don't seem to want to happen, right? I'm going to start with a reboot. That's always my starting point. I hope that works. Unfortunately, I think I just did a reboot yesterday. So, man, I hope it's not that serious. So my Chrome browser would not bring up my notes. My Opera browser is trying. Okay. Let's take a peek. All right. For the next couple days, we're going to talk about learning how to think strategically. Trading is, there's strategy in trading. With, now I don't know how to, I'll just be honest, I never learned to play chess. Where I grew up, my people were more checkers kind of folks. My kids play chess. My son's quite good. My daughter's becoming quite good. But I believe part of being a good chess player is that you learn how to think ahead a few moves. So Ephesians 5:15 says, be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Strategic thinking helps you to plan, to become more efficient, to maximize your strengths, and to find the most direct path towards achieving your God-given assignment in life. God has given us all an assignment. He created each one of us for a unique and divine destiny. The benefits of strategic thinking are numerous. Here's a few of them. Number one, strategic thinking simplifies the difficult. It takes complex issues and long-term objectives that can be very difficult to address and breaks them down into manageable sizes. Anything becomes simpler when you have a plan. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. I pray you see the parallel here between life and trading. The more time you spend as a trader, you will begin to see all of these incredible parallels between the act of living and the act of trading. Number two, strategic thinking helps you to ask the right questions. Now, here's a question developed by Bobby Beale, author of Master Planning. Direction, what should we do next? Why? Organization, who's responsible for what? Who is responsible for whom? Do we have the right people in the right places? Cash, what is our projected income? Expense, net. Can we afford it? How can we afford it? Tracking, are we on target? Overall evaluation, are we achieving the quality we expect and demand of ourselves? Refinement, how can we be more effective and more efficient? These may not be the only questions you need to ask in order to begin formulating a strategic plan, but they are a good first step. Now we're going to talk about this topic for a couple days, but until you take the first step, you'll remain stuck. Until you get over your need to do it perfectly, you won't do it at all. Now you might be asking, well, so when should I start this? How about today? And that's our good word for the day. And I'll leave you with a comment from Bobby. Bobby says in the audience, thank you for all you do. Third day in SIM, and although today was longer than the prior two, I reached my goal. Congratulations, Bobby. Always love to hear good news. Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.